1 hour and 44 minutes long, an action thriller movie. High Ground synopsis. In a bid to save the last of his family, Gutcher, a young Aboriginal man, teams up with ex-soldier Travis to track down Baywerer, the most dangerous warrior in the territory, his uncle. Welcome to my new movie review for the absolutely brilliant movie that came out this year, 2021. High Ground. This is, yes, an Australian film that is filmed in the beautiful mid-outback, what we would call the outback of Australia. It's Central Australia, and I tell you what, guys, one of the things straight off the bat that I want to talk to you about is actually the opening sequence of this movie. I don't even know if breathtaking is the word to use. I genuinely don't. I honestly don't. And as you can see, guys, around me, I'm actually intentionally doing this movie review in one of the most open fields that I could find. And this is literally, personally, just down the road from my house. No word of a lie, guys. So I just wanted to give you a massive outlook just of how beautiful it is in Australia. This is one of the most incredibly spectacular days we have in Australia. Gorgeous weather. This is what it is, guys. Guys, this movie is, the opening sequence of this movie is just the audio element, just the music and the singing and the cultural beauty behind the opening of this movie is just stellarly, absolutely spectacular, guys. I kid you not, guys. This is, in every shape or form, one of the most beautiful, brilliant, and just absolutely incredible Australian films that I've seen in a really, really long time. Now, I have to say, it's a dramatic action thriller, but in saying that, in the context of that, guys, there's a element of humor in it, and there's probably a one-liner of humor in it that I want to talk about just before I go on with this review, guys. And that element of humor in this movie, guys, is actually a part where there's an indigenous character and a white man, and they're having a conversation, and he's talking about being in the war and what he had to eat in the war. And the indigenous guy, as a joke, says, and it cracked me up so bad, and the line was executed and delivered so perfectly, he actually said, well, the war's over, man. So basically you can have something else. And I tell you what, guys, everyone in the cinema cracked up from that line. It was so unbelievably funny, and I just found it so well done. Now, I want to talk to you now about, I'll talk about one element of the movie that I didn't like. I didn't like this part of the movie. It literally happens. It's probably about a 5-minute sequence. Like, realistically, probably even less than that. But it's right towards the end of the movie, approximately about 20 minutes before the movie finishes. And it's actually an element of the movie where there's an indigenous, a cultural indigenous thing between two indigenous people, and they're like in the lip of a rock. Yeah, they're like in the lip of a rock. Basically what they're doing, guys, is they're actually in a tradition. It's the elderly guy showing the young guy what it is to create something in their culture. Now, it's not a bad element in the movie. It's quite beautiful, but it just, in my personal opinion, guys, that element slowed the movie down. But have no fear, guys, because once that was actually finished, the rest of the movie picked back up again. And I kid you not, in any way, shape, or form, guys, and I genuinely mean this wholeheartedly, after that, it picks back up, and the last probably 10-15 minutes of this movie was literally, and I genuinely mean this, guys, gasp worthy. And I really mean that. So many people in the audience that I saw this movie with were literally gasping at that part of the movie. It was just a wow factor. It was full on. It hit so hard. It was just like breathtakingly brilliant. Guys, this is one of the most beautiful, beautiful, brilliant Australian movies that I have seen in such a long time. I honestly can't, I genuinely can't, guys. I can't encourage you anymore. I really, really can't. I can't encourage you enough to go and see High Ground. Now, the reason why it's actually called High Ground, guys, is there is actually a specific reason behind the title of it. Those of you who have been following my channel for any period of time, I actually don't do spoilers in my movie reviews because, in my personal opinion, guys, spoilers just aren't fair. They just really aren't fair, guys. So you're not going to get any spoilers from me in this movie review. But there is a specific reason in this movie why they call it a high ground. It's actually really, really, really powerful. Now, as this movie goes along, one of the things that I didn't want to happen and I didn't want to see in this movie, and unfortunately I did see it, is the reason why it's rated MA15 plus. Now, obviously, there's blood and violence. Okay, that's very, very heavily elemented part of this movie. But there's actually a scene in this movie that in my head I thought to myself, as I was watching this movie, oh wow, they're not going to go there. They're not going to show elements like that in this movie, yay. And then they do, which is unfortunate again. But in saying that, and it happens really, really fast and it's over and done with. This movie is brilliant, guys. I really, really encourage you. I genuinely, highly, highly, highly encourage you to go and see High Ground. It's a brilliant movie. And for those of you who've been following my channel, you guys know that I love to give you, what is it in film? What is it that film needs in its central DNA? The thing that film needs to go back days, months, years later and rewatch. And anyone who's been following my channel for any period of time knows exactly what I'm about to say here, guys. Say it with me in 3, 2, 1, guys. Rewatchability, guys. Rewatchability. Does High Ground have rewatchability in its core essential thing, in its DNA? And you know the answer to yes. It really, really does. One of the reasons why specific watchability is the character chemistry. And for those of you that you know that I love character chemistry, because character chemistry in a film like this is vitally essential. It obviously has to have an amazing storyline. That's a given. That's a must. But in saying that, the character chemistry behind a movie like this is what launches the movie to the core central gravity as an audience member, to just be taken in. And I tell you what, guys, looking back on this movie, there's so many elements of this movie where you just get the, whoa, wow, that just happened, or whoa, I didn't see that coming, or wait, what, that seriously is happening right now. So many elements of this of that happened in this movie, guys. It's brilliant, it's wonderful. It's the cinematography of this movie is so perfect. And I really do mean that, guys, especially for those who, one, have never been to Australia, and two, don't know what it's like to see the outback of our beautiful country here in Australia, because it is just unbelievably spectacular. For anyone who wants any idea to any degree of what it's like to live in this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful land that we call Australia. Guys, you know what time it is. Guys, I'm going to wrap this movie review up, but you know what time it is, guys. In my end of my movie reviews, I always love to give you guys trivia just to end with, because you guys are so worth it. I love you guys so much. And so, guys, without further ado, it's that time in my movie reviews to give you trivia. Why? Because in my personal opinion, trivia in a movie review is cake. And who doesn't love cake, guys? So it's trivia time. First screening of the part of the lottery in West Film Festival in Perth, Western Australia. The setting was an open-air theatre in Somerville, that had a full capacity, which is quite remarkable, as there are not too many places in the world which can host a large crowds due to the pandemic. You guys are amazing. I appreciate your time being here. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to click the bell for notifications, and don't forget to leave a thumbs up. on this movie review. You guys are amazing. I appreciate your time. And don't forget who's bringing this movie review for High Ground. This is Superman Steve, guys. Appreciating you guys always. Loving your time. Flying out.